Konnichiwa, this is the Shogun, and this is a review of Shogun Solitaire, a one-player solo game from Worthington Games. We picked it up for $40 off Amazon, and it's a solo game with a theme of the Sengoku period of Japan, unifying Japan. So in the game, you have these boards represent 4 different daimyo families in Japan. So in Japan under feudalism, technically the emperor was in charge, but he, for a lot of times, wasn't. So there would be a shogun, but there were times there was no shogun. So you had these daimyo families competing to unify Japan. So in this game, what you're trying to do is eliminate all of these, little tokens here off the cards. These represent, again, the different clans. You can see the symbol. And if you clear all of these, you're the total winner. And then there are different levels that you can clear where you're like a weak winner or mid winner. But the goal is to eliminate all of these in unified Japan. And again, with the scoring, depending on if you got 9 of them or 10 of them, there's different levels of winning. But that's the goal of the game. So you have a big deck of cards, good card quality, and you get a deck of, start off, you get 5 cards. When you initially deal the 5 cards, if you get any of the enemy cards, they are going to go back into the pile. So you got 5, and what you're trying to do is get 3 of the same color, and that gets you to eliminate the token for that family. So if I had gotten, these 3, I would get rid of the Hojo, one of the Hojo. If I had gotten these 3 kind of blue, it would have gotten rid of the Amago clan. So what happens is you're going to, on your turn, you would, okay, I'm going to take one of these cards and I'm going to put it higher up, and then I draw another card, and then I play, try to play another card. Goes like that. Now these envoy cards, they're just dead weight. They clog up your hand. So again, you're trying to get cards into the top here. Now as you're doing this, if you do make the match, these are now out of the game. Or any of the other cards that didn't match are going to go out of the game too. So you're going to run out of cards at some point. Now there are cards, enemy cards, in here that are going to mess you up. So the Ronin is going to put one of these back on the board. So if I took, if I had gotten the Hojo, but then the Ronin came out, I'd have to put anyone back. The Assassin is going to take out a leader card. So if I had a leader card down here, it would be out. Or if there's no leader card, then the last card that I played in trying to make my combos goes. You do get a leader card, also will serve as a wild for that color, for that clan. There's also the Navy wild card, which counts as any card, which is a good card. And then the Ninja is good because it lets you pick the top 4 cards. You're going to eliminate one of the 4, and then you can reorder the other 3 to the top so you know what's coming. So, again, you're trying to get 3. You're trying to use as few cards as possible. Now, when you're doing this, you can't have 2 of the same type in a row. So that wouldn't work. You would have to have a combo like this. That also goes for other colors. So I couldn't do this. I couldn't play. I couldn't have, if this red was here, I couldn't play this green here. So I'd have to play this and bring this one up and then do this. So you can't have two of the same, even if they're different colors, two of the same, whether it be a soldier or cavalry or a ninja. Now also the ninja doesn't count as one of the three that would get you to take off the clan. However, it can be used to keep it going. So if I didn't want to lose the red, I would play it and then I could play another red, but it's not going to count towards the three. So it's a neat game, plays very quickly, and it's very difficult. So difficult that I went to a website that I normally don't like to go to. That's BGG. And on BGG, there was a discussion over the samurai card. So, again, let's take a look here. Let's say we had this, okay? And let's say, I wanted to play this one to try to go for the red. And then when I pick my next card, I got the raid. Okay. Now, according to the instructions, the samurai can be used and take out the raid. Okay. And then you draw back up the two cards. However, what I saw in the BGG discussion was one of the designers of the game commented that the samurai also works if you had gotten an assassin or the Ronin, which makes it a much more powerful card and also gives you a better chance of winning. So that's a pretty important rule that was left out. Now that was now again, that's someone claiming to be one of the designers, and that was not in the rulebook. The rulebook mentions that you can use the samurai to get rid of the raid, but it doesn't say anything about using it to get rid of the assassin, which would kill a leader, or the Ronin, which would make you have to put a clan tile back. That was in the BGG discussion. The rule book for this is not that long. The rules for this game are not that difficult. For there to be, if that is true, and again, I don't have a way to know if that's official. There was a FAQ in BGG for the rule book here that fixed up a couple of other little things, but did not mention the samurai card and that power. So again, I don't even know if that's officially, canon. Again, it's someone claiming to have been one of the designers posting that on BGG. So a criticism that I have to make is, that's a pretty big thing to be left out of the rule book, especially a small rule book, because people were posting the same thing, that the game was difficult, that people were having a very difficult time winning this game, and the person who claimed to be a designer mentioned that rule. This is maybe the third or fourth game I've had in a row where the rule books left out major things to where you have to go to BGG. And I don't like BGG. I don't think it's a nice place. I don't think it's a fair place. I don't like that, again, when you buy a game, that there are these major errors in a rule book that force you to have to go to one of these types of places, find it. So that is a criticism I have, is that the samurai card was not fully explained. The other criticism that I have, and you'll see I have a different video on this, I think the game is very expensive. And again, I don't know what the cost is to print these nice cards and this art, but this game is $40. And ultimately it's $40 for a deck of cards and a couple pieces of cardboard. I think that's way too expensive. Those would be my two biggest critiques. The game itself also, though it has this Japanese art and Japanese, samurai and soldiers and cavalry and all this, cool Japanese art and Japanese feudalism, it doesn't feel very thematic. So again, the samurai being able to do more things, okay, that adds a little more theme to it. But ultimately, this doesn't really need to be about Japan. And that's why some people have even mentioned that this game seemed very similar to, I forget the name of the game, it's with an O, but it was like with nightmares and dreams. I remember playing it a long time. It was a solo game, something with an O. But it was a very similar game, and that game had to do with like dreams and nightmares. So it's not very thematic to Japan, in my opinion. Now, what do I like about it? First of all, it's very colorblind friendly, which I like. So you not only have the color of the cards, but in the background, you have the shape that matches the clan symbol. So you have this sort of circle on the red. You have the square on the purple. You have the triangle on, I guess this is like a greenish. And then you have like the diamond. I'm not sure what color this is, but you can tell the diamond shape. So it's very colorblind friendly, and I'm glad they did that. So I like that it's colorblind friendly. The game itself is very challenging and it's fun. I played this a bunch of times. So in my other video, I discussed, is this worth $40? So something to keep in mind is, yes, how often do you play it? I played this quite a bit already in just a short time that I've had the game. So it is a fun game. It's a challenging game. It doesn't take up a lot of space. It's easy to learn. So I do enjoy the game, even though it's themeless, even though there was a major mistake left out of the rule book. So overall, I think you're going to have to decide whether or not you have $40 to spend on a deck of cards. I would definitely, if I saw this used, I would pick it up in a heartbeat. If I saw this at the game fair, and a lot of times these small box games at the used game fair end up being $5, $10. If I saw this for $5 or $10, I would buy it in a heartbeat if I could get it used. At $40, as much fun as it is, I don't know. That's just kind of tough to justify a deck of cards. I guess you're going to have to think about your financial situation, how often you're going to play it, whether or not it's worth $40 for a deck of cards. But I like, even though it's themeless, I do like the Japanese art. I do like the gameplay. I do like that it is colorblind friendly. I don't like the price, and I don't like, and I'm not just saying this company, but the rule book on Core of Discoveries was terrible. The rule book on Let's Go to Japan, I felt was terrible. And then used, I got, I was a Japanese themed dueling game. That was a Kickstarter. That rule book was terrible also. All those rule books made you go to BGG. So I almost think, is it a conspiracy? Do they purposely write poor rule books to get traffic to BGG? Maybe. So good card quality, fun game, challenging game, but don't like the rulebook issues, don't like the price. That's Shogun Solitaire. This is the Shogunstein out.